So anytime I teach side control escapes, I like to also look at a different variation of side control that you'll sometimes see. I like to play this side control. It does have some weaknesses to it. You know, no technique is going to be perfect, but a lot of times people will have a hard time escaping this variation of side control, and so I like to offer at least an option to begin to play with while you're pretty early in your journey, that hopefully helps get you out of some of these positions. So with this variation of side control, he's going to reach under the arm and he's going to kick his feet out sort of sideways like this. So instead of controlling the hips here, I have more mobility, but he's got better control of my upper body, right? Now with this position, he's going to be vulnerable in this direction. He's going to be pretty strong in this direction because he can post this arm out and stop. He's going to be pretty strong in this direction because his legs are there, and I'm not in position to kind of throw him over my head or anything, right? So I want to look at how do I take him somehow in this direction, right? And so to maintain this position, one of the ingredients that he wants to have is he wants to control this elbow. If I can't get this elbow to the mat, I'm going to have a hard time escaping this position. So the first battle is how do I get my elbow back, okay? And so to do that, a lot of times I'm just going to bridge into him and try to suck it down to the mat this way, okay? The next thing I want to do is I'm looking, let's go ahead and keep spinning. I'm looking now to bring this knee up underneath of his hips here. And I'm looking, think about trying to connect your knee and your elbow together, but what I'm really trying to do is load him up on top of me like this, okay? Now, if I am bigger than the person I'm training with, then I like to think about moving them into position. If they are bigger than me, I think about moving myself into position, right? And so I may have to bait this a little bit, right? I may have to bridge into him, which he's going to then try to push me back, which is then going to create a little bit of space for me to slide this in. So there's like different ways to get there, but ultimately what I'm looking for is to get him loaded up in this position. Once his weight is on top of me, I'm going to hug underneath the arm here, and he becomes almost weightless for me to just rotate and come up in the top position, just like we did for that last sort of roll reversal from traditional side control. So come back, we'll do it one more time. Kick your feet out that way. First battle, I got to get my elbow to the mat. So maybe roll this way a little bit. I got to get my elbow to the mat. Next, I got to get my knee underneath of him some way or fashion. It helps when my elbow's to the mat because I can use it to kind of push. But what I may need to do is push into him to get him to bridge and stiffen himself out, which then creates a little bit of space where I load him up. And then once he's on top of me, he becomes very easy to move his weight and to reverse the position. And so that variation of side control is called sort of like a modified Kesa Gatame. Actual Kesa Gatame would just be grabbing the head, but as I've mentioned previously, you don't see that happen in jiu-jitsu as often. Some people will play it, but you give up that underhook and it becomes fairly easy to have your back taken if you don't have a good underhook there. So people will modify it, still kick their feet out, but have that underhook. And that is a good option for how to escape that variation of side control.